Hi, everyone. I decided after our 31-day of mindfulness journey that we took in July to circle back to the themes that I presented over those about 4 weeks to give a little bit more insight or information about why I chose to do that for those 5 to 7 days. So that 31-day mindfulness journey was just more of a brief introduction. There's a lot of ways that we can practice mindfulness, and that really comes based on our own individual intention, the why we are showing up in the first place. In week 2, the theme of those daily mindfulness meditations was around the breath. And the breath is such an amazing tool because it happens automatically, yet we can consciously manipulate, change, or control it. So it's one of those functions of the body that we don't need to get involved, but there are specific examples and times when we should pay attention. It gives us such amazing feedback. So when we're born breathing the way that our bodies were designed to breathe, automatically, unconsciously, without any manipulation, control, or change on our part. Then life happens. And especially when we're little, it's a lot of unconscious, just we're coming into the world, we don't know what to expect. And these situations really start to not just define who we are, but also influences and impacts the way that we breathe, the way that we enter into situations. So the breath alone is a topic we could completely cover and go into depth for years about. But I just wanted to introduce it to everyone who was watching to say that if mindfulness ever seemed like a struggle, just start with your breath. You can start anywhere. You could start at your desk, in your car, as you're walking. It's just bringing your awareness to what's happening with your breath. So I found a quote that kind of really got me thinking, and I'm going to share it with you, and then I'm going to show you my breath resource that I've been honed in on these past couple of weeks. And so American poet Mary Oliver is quoted as saying, "The pattern of our lives reveal us. Our habits measure us. The patterns of our lives reveal us. Our habits measure us." And I'm still processing exactly what I think that means for me individually. But what I've come up with thus far is an example of we have a pattern of breathing, or even if you want to take it outside of the breath, to react to situations. We become completely unaware or unconscious in our reactions to situations. So something as simple as walking into a building or a crowded space, walking onto a stage to talk, to having to have a conversation, to just showing up, insert anywhere. You can start by becoming mindful of how those first couple of physical steps or moments of a situation, you may start to see yourself tensing, or you may feel yourself expanding, but it's that awareness of like what's happening with the physical body that mimics on the outside what's happening to your body with the breath on the inside. Those two are not disconnected. And we can, over the course of our lives, develop this unconscious patterning of, I'm going to rush to work. I've got to get this done. This needs to happen before that happens. I'm going to take a moment and breathe when I get all of this stuff done. And so you can see, even by my gesturing, it's very energetic. And so if my movements and my thoughts are energetic, you can imagine so is my breath, which is not the natural state of our breath. Our natural state is one where we can, through whatever the situation is, maintain a level of like this baseline of natural breath. A smooth inhale in, a smooth exhale out. This unattached function to the living that's happening around us. So the book I've been binging on regarding the breath is actually called, oh, you may not be able to see it, but I'll put in the notes the book title and the author. It's called The Breathing Book. And it's a book that's, you know, almost 250 pages that talks about just reconnecting with what the author calls is the natural breath, coming back to that place of being, of working with our breath. And one of the things I found interesting about the book already is a very simple exercise that the author offers up, which is quite simply, if you don't know what's going on with your breath right now, or how your breath may be restricted unconsciously, that this may be your normal, quote, normal baseline breath based on a lot of unconditioned patterns that have happened to this point, then you may be unconsciously constricting or contracting your breath. And the simple exercise is quite simply, it's just a sigh. And you can even notice it in my body language. Sighs allow everything to just settle down. And so even if you think everything is going swimmingly, and it may be, there's no judgment or there's no right or wrong here, you may notice even a slight change in how your body and your breath moves simply by taking a few conscious sighs. Settling in. So in one part of the book, in the very beginning, the author talks about when the challenges of life seem too great to handle, or things aren't going as smoothly as planned, we may try to stop the natural flow of events by unconsciously restricting movements. So, how many times have we encountered an unfavorable situation or having to face something that we didn't want to, that we pushed back? We tried to push it away to avoid it. And so you can imagine if you're doing that with your body, you're probably tensing up your breath. And the simple exercise is just to notice that, to notice the moments that are causing you to pull in versus to expand out. And notice the difference between how they feel. And this alone, if this was to become a mindfulness practice that you could commit to, just observing your breath for 10 to 15 minutes a day for the next however long, you would really start to notice the shifts in your body as your body starts to reconnect back to that natural breath. And you have those 7 days of videos available to you again to review, to see if there's different types of breath work that resonate with you. To finish, the author at the end of the book talks about mindfulness and breathing. And what she says there, and I think it really resonates where a lot of us are at this moment in time. Usually, it is not until we meet a serious life crisis that we are forced to look at the way these unconscious forces drive our lives. Although pain continues to be a primary motivator for change in human beings, we need not wait for a crisis to decide we want to live differently. So being mindful and aware of your breath doesn't need to come because of the latest blast of the news, or traumatic or dramatic event. It's this exercise you can do for you as a gift to yourself to, again, as Mary Oliver said, to let the pattern reveal you and then let the habits measure you. You may notice you have moments where your body and your breath aren't exactly the most freeing, but you can change that habit just by being mindful. Hope you guys enjoy these next 7 videos again. Again, if you have any questions, comments, you can always let me know. And I look forward to hearing how breath work and awareness is impacting your life.